Hi everyone, this is Alma coming to you from Long Beach, California. Today is Saturday, April 23rd of the year 2022, and this is going to be FlossTube number 78. And I just got the FlossTube itchy nose, of course. But welcome, as always, welcome everyone. Welcome back to all my current viewers and subscribers, and thank you, as always, for your continuing support. I also want to say special welcome to anyone that's visiting for the first time. I hope that you like what you see, you find a reason to stay, subscribe, and continue to follow me on my stitching journey. And I do want to say a special thank you for all the lovely comments I received on my last video. It's great to be back. I'm very happy to be back. And as I mentioned, I do hope to continue or pick up where I left off and continue posting every other weekend. You know, school might determine which day of the weekend it is. I do have Friday morning classes now, so I may post on Saturdays and Sundays more likely, but they'll get posted. But yeah, so thank you for that. As always, I hope that everybody's doing well. I hope that everyone's staying safe and sound. Everything's good here. We're both just super busy trying to keep up with our work and our schoolwork. So yeah, but we do try to find time to, at least, even if it's 20-30 minutes, to watch a little bit of TV together, just for the sake of taking a mental break from everything else. But everything is good. I don't have too much stitching to show you. I stitched a lot on very few pieces, so instead of stitching small stitch counts on a lot of pieces, I stitched a lot on few pieces. But I do have some stitchy kindness to show you all, so there is a bit to show. So without further ado, let's get to the stitching. And the first one I'm going to show you is my Fame Fairy, as I call her. This is my pattern from Heaven and Earth Designs, and the artist is Julie Fame, hence Fame Fairy, but her name is actually Minnie Midnight Stroll. I started this with test stitches a couple of years ago. She has actually restarted hers. I believe she went from 18 count, which is what I'm using, to 25 or 28. She went for smaller stitches, bigger stitch count, I guess. I forget how that goes. Point being is, we've been working on this together, and she has been my focus for ever since then. So this is what she said. Again, she's received the most care, and this got tangled up with my needle. What's going on? There we go. Okay. All right, so this is sorry about that. So this is where we're at. And last time I showed this to you, I was at 51,492 stitches. I am now at 54,240. So over the last couple of weeks, I stitched over 2,700 stitches. And as you can see, if you remember from last video, I mentioned that I was going to see if I could finish this color first and just go all the way up. I kind of got tired of it at that point. I did have a lot of my stash put away, so I really was only working on one color at a time, and I got a little bit tired of it. So I decided to just go ahead and move my way down to the bottom of the design. And how I'm stitching this is, I'm just inching my way to the left. I just look at what is the next stitch, going column by column. I look at the next empty space, and then that's the color. I'll just cut a length of floss, stitch that length of floss, and then go back and do the same. So it's been interesting, because again, I was so used to working just one color at a time, now using various different colors. It's like, oh yeah, this is how this goes. But I'm really enjoying how it's looking. I really love all those shades of purples and pinks. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this finished. And I was thinking that now that Mania is coming up, I thought I might do people go monogamania is I think what they call it, just stitch on one piece for the entire month, because I do, again, I just got the bug, I just have the itch to finish this as soon as possible, so that's looking like a good idea at the moment. So yeah, so my next video might not be too exciting. But we'll have to see. I'll just put this in there for now and I'll fix it later. One piece that has gotten some stitches done as well is my whipco call. One of my whipco calls for this month, which I forgot to mention last video. I'm still doing whipco as much as I can. Sometimes I fall behind, but that's okay. I try to be easy on myself. But this month I did want to go ahead and try to stitch on the ones that were called the month of. So this is another one of my Heaven and Earth Designs piece. This is July by Ditman. I'm also working on June as well. I started June first because I'm pretty sure that came out first, and then July came out and I fell in love with her, so I decided to stitch her as well. They're both really large pieces. I at one point considered just restarting them, but I mean, if I restarted one, I would have to restart the other one because they're about the same size. So I just decided to stick with it. But they are going to be super large because as it is, there we are. So this is what I have so far. No, backwards. Yeah. Oh, there. See what I mean? Like, look at all that fabric. Okay. This is what we have so far, and as it is, this isn't even 2% of the entire design. I added 1,000 stitches because that's usually what I do for whipco. Is whatever whip is called, it's gonna get at least 1,000 stitches that month. So I added 1,000 stitches, but most, if not all of them, were in white. So nothing too exciting to show yet. I'll eventually get to at least her hair. Yeah. The hair is going to be the first thing that shows up on that side. So that's when we're going to start seeing more colors and more shape into the design. Because as it is, there's nothing there. But yeah, I think I'm at 1.88% on this. So I need to get cracking on this one as well if I want to get anywhere with it. Another piece that I worked on this week, or these 2 weeks I suppose, is my Mirabilia. This is Portrait of Veronica, and she was the very first Mirabilia that I bought. I think I might have bought another one. I think I bought Roses. Yeah, Roses of Provenance, I think she's called. But it was these two that were my first. I loved the colors, so I'm very happy to be stitching on her. And I do have plans to start another Mirabilia with a friend of mine this year, so I thought, okay, if I'm going to be starting another one, I need to at least get cracking on the one that I already have going. Because this is all I have. I forget exactly where I was at the last time I showed it to you, but I've just mostly been working on this top section with the black. So I don't know if you've noticed, but I didn't show you my change of seasons pattern today. I don't know why, but I just out of nowhere just lost the stitchy bug on that one. It started becoming more of a chore than anything else, and I just didn't necessarily like that aspect of it. So I think for my daily 30 piece, I think I might replace it with Veronica, at least for now, because this is relaxing for me. I don't know what it is about. I don't usually stitch on even weave, but I just find it very relaxing. So yeah, and I don't know, the fabric looks dirtier, like it's not, yeah, the fabric's not showing up too well. At least the bottom half. The top half is showing up just fine. But yeah, this is not as yellow or as it's coming up on the screen. So yeah, so you might see this because, like I mentioned, I would very much like to have more progress on her. I started her on my birthday, July 2020, because I didn't start anything 2021 because of the challenge group. So that's 2 years worth of unacceptable. I mean, I also have a lot more whips to have less, but but she's special to me, so I do want to keep going on her. And the next piece I want to show you is my travel piece, the one I take to work. This is Chopper by Be Cute Today, or Red Max, as it's printed on the PDF. This is a character from the anime One Piece that me and my boyfriend watch. Very popular one. It's been around for 20 years or so, and he's one of my favorite characters. So easy stitch. It's just fill in the outlines, color in the outlines, and this is what I have so far. So since the last time I showed it to you, I finished the pink on this part of the cap. I finished the brown, and I started on the blue. So I don't know if you can see, but I did add the little white circles all around the cap as well. I didn't outline them just yet because the black is doing that thing where all the fuzz keeps like bleeding into the other colors, and I just didn't want that to happen, especially for the white color. So I'm gonna leave the outlining, so it's gonna be backwards for that section at least. I can still stitch, I just have to remember to leave like one space so I'll not stitch immediately up to the white line, because there is a white stitch on that little cap. So yeah, I wasn't going quite as fast as I was hoping with this piece, which is why at one point I was watching a movie and I just pulled this out. Even though it's my travel piece, I just decided, what the heck, I'll just stitch on this for a bit to get more progress on it. I don't so even though I do take it to work, most of the time I end up just doing my own homework or studying, taking notes, what have you. If I don't have an appointment, if nobody makes an appointment at the tutoring center, that's good time for me to do my own thing. This I only really stitch when I'm in class. So my job is to be part of my job is also to support one of the programming professors at the school. So I'll go to class, and he kind of, the way he structures his classes is he lectures for like 15 minutes, and then he does hands-on, like actual coding, like let's practice what we just learned about, and then he lectures for another 15-20 minutes, and then just repeat the whole thing for the entire class. So while he's lecturing, I have nothing, like I already know the material. so that's when I'll go ahead and work on this. But then the second he says, okay, let's code, that's when I come in and I help the students. Like if they're coming up with errors or something like that in their programs, I can assist that way as well. So that's also why this has been going a little bit slower than I would have liked, is because I don't get too much downtime besides those lecture segments. So who knows, maybe I'll go ahead and keep using it whenever I start watching TV, if I don't work on something else, because I do have a few projects that I'd like to revisit. The numbers that were called for WIPGO last month I wasn't able to touch, and one of them was one of my Tilton Crafts charts, Fractal Energy, which is also just huge blocks of color. So part of me is also, okay, I'll do that first. I'll take care of that because that's pending. It's been pending since last month. So I'll go ahead and tick that box and then go back to this one. But yeah, that's really all the stitching that I have to show you today. Again, not too many whips, just a lot of progress on few whips. But one thing I do want to show is a friend of mine started destashing a lot of her material, and she was kind enough to let me, as we say, me please, right? So we say me please, I want it, me please. So she was kind enough to let me please quite a few items. So one of them is a pattern that she stitched herself already, and that's actually why I fell in love with this piece. It's the New Year's Miss New Year's Fairy, and she's small but she's really cute. So again, she's one of the ones that I really want to get to eventually. So I'll go ahead and stitch that. She also let me have, which I don't have too many of these, but again, I saw Sarah from our Stitching Kingdom. I saw her stitch this one and I absolutely fell in love with it. This is Spell of the Moon by Blackbird Designs. Again, not too into the smalls. I don't know if you would consider this a small. It seems kind of big, but but you get my point. But I did fall in love with it. So since I don't know if she stitched it already or she just decided she wasn't going to stitch it. Either way, she said it was up for grabs. So I called it. And then another thing she let me have is this kit from Starry Night, right, from Bangkok. A few of my friends, a couple of my friends are also stitching on it. I don't know if it's like these exact kit from Joy Sunday or if it's another designer's, another kit from another designer, another pattern. But I've always wanted to stitch this design. It's just one of those things that I've always found really fascinating and interesting. So again, says she wasn't going to stitch this after all. It was up for grabs. So she let me have it. And then she also let me have this pattern. This is called Queen Bessie's Chessboard by Leon Conrad, and it's all black work. So every square, and again, it's kind of hard to see, but every square, I mean, besides the fact that it's black work, every square is inspired by a different country. So, obviously there's a lot more countries than there are squares, but that's also what I found really fascinating. So I'm really looking forward to stitching this. I'll have to make sure that I do it on even weave and not Aida, because it's a pain to stitch on when it comes to outlines and just teeny tiny fractional stitches like this. It's really a pain to stitch on Aida with these. So I'll do that eventually. And she also let me have this cut of fabric, because she has since switched over to Lugana or even weave, and this is Aida. This is 18 count Aida. It's showing up very yellow, kind of like Veronica showing up yellowish. It's not that yellow. It's more like, well, I mean, it is yellowish, but it's more greenish. But such is life. You can't do much about the lighting. So yeah, so I was happy to grab it. I'm not sure what I'll use it for just yet. I was thinking of doing monochromatic piece so that the fabric really sticks out. I've got a couple of those, so maybe I can do something with that. And another thing that I got from a friend, and this time from Australia, all the way from Australia, is this wonderful thing. As you know, well, if you've been around for a couple of years, you may remember that I stitched the Peter Pan design of this series. I stitched Peter Pan and Tinkerbell Fly to Neverland, but I think it's backwards. Tinkerbell and Peter Pan Fly to Neverland. So this is Cinderella Wishes Upon a Dream. And these are extremely hard to find. So when she says, I don't think I'll stitch this if you want it, I said, yes, please, me please. So this came all the way from Australia, and I'm really excited to stitch it. So this is definitely one of the pieces that I want to start this year. I'm not sure when exactly, but it'll definitely get stitched. I was waiting for this forever, and just, you know, international shipping, right? But also it went from Australia to Florida and then to California. So when I went to see the friend that was destashing, she gave me this because she was the one that had it, so it traveled. But one thing I am gonna do is going back to fractional stitches or pain to do on Aida. This comes with 18 count Aida, and from my experience working with the Aida from Peter Pan, I decided never again, not for all those details, not for all those fractional stitches. So I'm gonna switch this out for even weave. I think I'll have to look to see if I can find a 36 count. I'm like hiding behind. I think I'll have to look to see if I can find a 36 count, so that they can at least, you know, keep the same size. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure it's gonna be the same size as Peter Pan, so that would be nice to have the two of them be the same. And then I also have two vignettes. I have the Fantasia vignette with Sorcerer Mickey, and I already stitched the Pinocchio vignette, so I think it's a nice set. But yeah, I just have to get the fabric for this, switch out the fabric, and then it'll be good to go. So thank you, my friends. Thank you. Made me very, very happy. But yeah, that's all. I believe that's all that I had to show you. Yeah, so the plans for the next coming weeks are just gonna be keep focusing on the Fame Fairy. As I mentioned, Monogamania is looking like a good idea right now, so I'm probably gonna go ahead and do that. Yeah, the only issue is that I have a couple of groups, challenge groups that require you to stitch on several other things, so I may just do like 100 stitches on those, just for the sake of taking it off. I might just take a break from them, to be honest. I'm not sure, to be honest. I haven't, as much as I loved doing challenge groups in the last few years, I've slowly but surely just stopped doing them and just kind of did my own thing. So part of me is also like, well, if you haven't really participated for the last few months, you might as well just not and just leave the group. So that's something that I'll have to consider as well, because it's not something I still feel like the need to participate, but then I end up feeling guilty when I don't. So I'm gonna have to figure something else out, because it's not yeah, like just figure out what works for me, I guess. But yeah, so plans, I'm gonna get fabric for the Cinderella piece. I also want to start a birthday piece with actually the friend that destitched, Laurel. Because our birthdays are pretty close to each other. Mine's on the 13th, and I think hers is on the 15th or the 16th. I forget which day exactly, but I think it's the 16th. That feels right. And we both have one of the same designs. It's called the Illustrated Manuscript, and it came out from the cross-stitch, Country Cross-Stitch, I think, magazine. I'll have to double check. But I was gifted the first pattern because it's two partners. I was gifted the first one, and I absolutely adored it. And when I learned that there was a second one, that became like my unicorn piece. And then I found it not too long ago, actually. I found it maybe 3 or 4 years ago. So now that I have the pair, I want to actually stitch them. So when we were talking one day, and she mentioned that she also had them, so we're like, okay, let's stitch them, let's start them. So I think that's gonna be my birthday start. Cinderella might be a little bit earlier, depending on when I get the fabric. I mean, I also have a gift card from, I don't know if I ever mentioned it, but with the New Starts 2021, I was actually one of the people that got the I think it's $20 or $25 gift card for being able to go through. I used my freebie for the gift that I stitched for my friend, but other than that was allowed. You could still, I think you could still be in the running, apparently. At least for like the second prize. I think you were exempt from the grand prize, but you could still do the second prize. So I haven't used it. I haven't used that gift card. So I may just go ahead and get fabric for Cinderella with the gift card. But I also want to start a series of, and again it's gonna be black and white piece with like colored accents. One of them is for Amsterdam. Another one is for London. There's Lisbon and Paris. So 4 sets. So those I want to get started on as well. So yeah, so just lots to do. But I'll, last year it was really nice to start or finish a lot of things. So I also want to try to finish something again. The Midnight Fairy is going to be what Hogwarts was last year. I also focused a lot on Hogwarts and just powered through until I finished it, and then I took care of a lot more goals. So I think I'm just gonna do something similar this time around as well. So yeah, that's it. I don't have too much else to show you. I wanted to make sure that I did show you, especially, because it was a team effort to get me the Cinderella kit. I did want to show it, and again, thank you, you know who you are, for giving that to me. Much appreciated. So yeah, so if you have any questions, as always, you're welcome to leave a comment. Thank you again for visiting. As always, I hope you have a relaxing weekend, a productive week, and you always find the time to do the thing that makes you happy. Until next time, bye.